Welcome to the Simpler Business Podcast, where we talk about ways to do what you love and serve your people in a way that brings you income and freedom. I'm your host, Marissa Roberts. Join me as I chat with my favorite entrepreneurs about how they simplify their biz so that you can simplify yours. Sarah Walton is back on the show this week, and I am so excited she's here. Sarah, welcome.
Marissa, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here with you. Thrilled.
The team is back together.
Yes.
Honestly, your last episode, for those of you who haven't heard it yet, Sarah was on the show. Last time Sarah was on the show, we went into details of a highly converting sales page. And can I just say, out of all my guests, she's one of these people who just gives you actionable things. Like when Sarah talks about 3 tips for something, they are things that you can actually get in and get done and see results for. And so listeners went crazy for that one. They all really loved it and took action. So I'm very, very happy. So I'm going to leave a link in the show notes, guys, if you haven't heard Sarah's original episode, because if you haven't had a chance to check it out, she's amazing. If you need help with sales, Sarah is your girl. Love it.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you. I'm so glad that they loved it. Yeah. It's the worst when you hear a podcast and it's conceptual, right? You're like, well, that's great. That made me feel good. But what do I do now? Right? It's hard. Yeah.
I'm inspired, but what steps do I take?
She's great. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
I'm someone who loves good how-to. I'm like, just cut to the chase. You've already won me over. Just tell me exactly what you want me to do, and I'm happy to do it. So when you're on the show, I'm like, whatever you talk about on the episode, I'm already ready with notes going, right, I'm going to go off and do it after we record. There's so much value.
Oh, you're so great.
Oh, thanks. This is a really good topic too, though, I think, because when you're thinking about repeat buyers, I think people forget about them a lot of the time. Like they're so focused on selling to brand new people, right? I got to find new people. I got to get in front of new people. I've got to introduce myself to new people and meet people through other people's audiences and go to this networking event and run ads. And you've already got a loyal customer base. Like people who have bought from you before are going to be the easiest people to buy again, right? So as long as they're happy and you actually think to make an offer to them, which, I don't a lot of the time. I forget. I know I should, but I forget to do it. Or think about what else on their journey do they want to cover. I think there's so much potential in there that we just skip over, we don't know about. And so I think that this is a fantastic step for most business owners. They've got the basics covered. They need that next level or that next step. It's going to be super helpful for them. So it's going to be a really good
I'm excited. Yeah, it's true too. I mean, and I forget the stat and I should know it cold. So I apologize to everyone. But, acquiring a new customer is something like 10 times more expensive than having repeat buyers. Right. Because the lead up time, how long it takes for them to get comfortable with you, all those things. And so if we can really take advantage of people who already know there's value, people who already know you help, oh my gosh, they actually end up working harder too, because they're already in with you,
Yeah. And they actually become somebody who works to bring you more business too, because when you've got really, really happy people, they'll spread the word no problem and you'll be top of mind with them. So there's a lot of benefits there. I do want to get into your bio for anybody who hasn't heard your last episode or hasn't met you yet. Sarah's a business coach and a sales expert who's been featured on the Today Show. She speaks at women's conferences all over the world and has helped hundreds of women start and grow businesses they love. Sarah works with a handful of one-on-one clients, but she also runs a Sales Mastermind and leads her exclusive Abundance Academy for women in business. She's the voice behind the Game On Girlfriend podcast. And if you're on YouTube, you can check out her channel, Sarah Uncut, making her the go-to source for no-nonsense business coaching and real-life mind-blowing abundance. And I love that because I really love a positive outlook in business. I think we get caught up in the slog and hard work of business and when's it going to happen. But once we kind of release that and focus on the what can we do and how good does it feel for us and our clients, I think that makes a really big difference, right?
It does. I mean, whenever anybody's like abundance, schmundance, they're like, come on, that's a mindset. I'm like, yes, it is a mindset. That's correct. And what happens when you go about your day after you've had a horrific fight with someone you love or your head's not in the game, right? You know dang well, like throughout the day, you're not going to produce what you would have produced if you had like an amazing morning, you were on task, you knew what was going on, and you had this like outlook of like, I'm amazed, like I'm really going to tackle this day. You produce completely different results.
It's so true. It's that whole
Mm,
get out of on the wrong side of the bed thing. You spiral. One thing goes wrong, and if you let it get on
mm,
top of you, it influences your actions for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and makes a really, really big difference. So I think that mindset and abundance is one of those things where if you don't have it in your business, it's always going to feel like hard work. And
mm.
yeah, I think, one of the things Sarah says all the time, guys, is it's time to put more money in the hands of more women. And yeah, I'm all in for that too. I think that if the easier and more fun we make selling and helping other people, selling and serving, basically, I think they go hand in hand. And the more women get comfortable with that
Mm,
and excited about it and motivated, and the more women see other women succeed like that, uh,
yeah,
the better the world's going to change for everybody.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about repeat happy customers. We're going to talk about 3 or 4 different focus points today. And then if you want to dive a little deeper with Sarah, we'll have some info for you as well. My cat's going crazy in the background. So if you hear any bells jingling, that would be Bob. He likes to make a cameo every now and again. Sometimes he walks across the screen. So, we might meet Bob later, everybody. All right. So, Sarah, what is one step then that you think people miss after they have a customer sign up with them or purchase from them?
Mm. Oh my gosh. Well, we touch on this a tiny bit on the high converting sales page, right? A little bit we touch on it. And I think it's one of the biggest misses for most people. And that is using the thank you page well.
Yeah.
So it just like people go, great, thanks. And I love to teach people to flip that. It's actually congratulations because they're the ones who just made a difference, right? They're the ones who just raised their hand to move their life forward. So it's like, congratulations, you just did something awesome. And while you're waiting for everything to come in, grab this video, listen to this podcast episode. Because you just purchased this, you might want to be checking this out for about 2 weeks from now. This is going to end up being really supportive. And that could be a different product. It could be something super inexpensive that will support, or it could be the best part of what they just purchased. You're like, oh my gosh, keep your eyes out for this. But what that does is just welcome them into your world in a way that, one, lets them know you have a lot going on. You have, like, you've been on podcasts, or you have a podcast, you've been on video, or you have your own video channel. And you're starting to introduce them to your whole big world of all of the different ways you can support them on whatever journey they're on. And we just miss it. People go, great, thanks. It's like,
Yeah.
not thank you. First of all, like, you're awesome. You did this. Like, oh my goodness. Right. And then here's the rest of my world. You might want to start poking your head in here. And it's fun to create those. I have to say, they're so much fun. And I've found in our business, like, we've really, because you guys know I'm a data nerd. I love me the numbers, right? I'm all woo woo and I'm totally on the abundance mindset. And then let's back it with data.
Yeah.
Is that we have found that those pages, people who end up getting a page that really welcomes them and acknowledges them for having the courage to try something new, that they end up being with us for years and years and years, almost at a 50% higher rate than people who got the traditional, yeah, you, okay, bye, thank you page.
Mm.
Yeah. Not
That's amazing.
crazy?
I'm
Yeah.
already thinking mentally of all my thank you pages, and I am such a cliche because mine are all thanks. Check your inbox.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
we
that
were,
real
listen.
estate, it's doing nothing for me. And you're right, there's a big difference. Now that you've said that, I'm like,
Mm,
there's a huge difference between thanks, which sounds like I'm grateful you bought from me, and congratulations, which sounds like we're going to do this together for you, right? That's a massive
yeah.
distinction already. I'm like, okay, I really need to. Why don't I have a pen? I'm taking
So
notes.
cool.
I'm taking notes.
I actually got chills when you just said that, because it really is, it really is that welcoming and that acknowledging. And, I say this too when I'm teaching, even like phone call sales, right? Like, people are like, oh my God, how do I sell over a call or whatever? And it's like, one, don't worry about you. And I think it kind of goes with this thank you page idea, is acknowledge them for booking the call. Like, do you know how scary that is? Right? They're like, "Oh my gosh, are they gonna sell to me? Do they hate, what if I can't afford, oh, what if it's my favorite person and I can't afford them? What if they think I'm stupid? What if they think I'm not doing anything right?" Like, they're going through that. And so
Mhm.
let's be there for them on that. And the thank you page is kind of the same thing. They're like, "I just did this." And
Yeah.
if you're celebrating with them, like, "Well, I know you just did this thing," it just changes the field a little bit, I think, for
Yeah.
people. And
I
we
think
love our
that's
people.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Yeah, we want to help the person. That's why we're selling the thing. We're not just in this for a cash grab. We actually want to help people for a good, energetic exchange. That's the whole point of sales, I think, for us. And you're right. As soon as somebody buys something, there's always that little moment, isn't there, of, oh, I've just paid some money for something. And it doesn't matter if it's $5 or $5,000. There's always that little, oh, I hope something good happens now that I've actually done it, because I'm stepping into the unknown. So for us to be able to make them feel confident and excited after making a purchase, as opposed to wondering what's going to happen now that they've paid their money, that's a big
Mhm.
difference in the experience, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are the most fun things you've seen on a sales page? Or like, do you play around with video or GIFs or just text? Have you seen it all?
Yeah, I really have seen it all. And I am it gets tough sometimes because we are international, right, with shipping actual things.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, for me, my favorite, like, welcome to the party gift is literally flowers. And I do my best to
Mm.
find local florists, obviously, usually run by a woman, right? And, just as an example, just yesterday, there was a woman that I'd ordered flowers for. Literally, this just happened. And the woman called me and was like, I am so sorry. For some reason, there was a technical glitch with your order. I can't get it there on time. I said, no worries. I'm a small business too. I got it. Like, it's totally fine, right? And she ended up sending me pictures of the woman getting the flowers, of them dropping off the flowers. She let me hand pick all the flowers. Like, I was like, this is why
Oh,
I do this. And there's nothing that's more amazing, I think, than actually getting something physical, especially in this digital online world, right? We just don't send things to each other. And the reason I like to choose local florists is you can be international with it, right? You can find someone in their part of the world, right?
yeah.
And work with them to figure it out. And thank goodness for Google Translate, right? Like my French is okay, but it's not that good. But it's like, there's languages that I don't obviously speak. And so it's so wonderful to be able to support locally to increase the connection and the commitment between our
Yeah.
company and anybody who decides to work with us. It makes me really excited.
Yeah, that's such a good idea, and that's not something I've come across widely in the industry widely in the industry, and I've been
Yeah.
looking online for, like, 12 years now, and, I think back to, oh, geez, I've signed up to, like, 20 different things easily, and I think maybe once or twice I've gotten something in the mail as a result, and you're right, I have this little moment of, "Oh, I didn't expect that. Oh, that's really thoughtful. Oh, especially being in Australia. Oh, somebody sent that all this way or thought about somebody so far away. And it really makes me feel like a person rather than a
Mm,
number, because a lot of people, were so focused on sales numbers and data tracking. And I love that for my business too, because I think that you get a lot of insights out of your numbers. But that feeling like, oh, this person knows that I'm a person and they know that I have goals and they actually care about my outcomes, that's just such a powerful thing, and immediately from that point on, I'm already gonna be telling people about this amazing first step experience that I've had.
yeah. Yeah, it really does. It really does bring in the warmth and the connection. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah,
Oh,
that
what
was a
a
good question. I'm glad you asked that.
such a nice way to start, I love it. Alright, so the next thing I wanna know about is, in my experience, I'm a big fan of passive products, for example. So I like programs, I
Mm,
like ebooks, online courses are my favorite thing to create. But one thing that I've struggled with over the years and took me a while to kind of get a handle on, and something I hear about over and over again from people who are dipping a toe into, say, online course creating, is that they'll do like one product, it'll go pretty well, and then they're like, okay, I'm ready to create something else, but they'll just randomly pick things to create, and then it kinda looks like they've got this messy puzzle of offerings, if you know what I mean? So, I guess what I wanna
yes.
know next is, what are your thoughts on designing a product suite or, a group of products that are gonna help keep customers engaged and motivated and encourage them to take those next steps?
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. And again, it's a big missing, right?
Mm,
And it I love the online space because we can consistently do that. But even in, I do have some clients who have physical stores or physical things. And it's like, okay, so let's pretend, the muffins are on sale, right? If they get two muffins, they get a cup of coffee for this side. You know what I'm saying? Like, start thinking about their experience, right? What else do they need? Well,
that
if
for
they do
physical
that,
things.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, right. And the reason I talk about the physical first is because we've all had that experience, right? It's like, oh, even with makeup, right? They're like, okay, if you buy the lip liner, you get the lip gloss. You're like, oh, thanks, because I needed both. And you want to start to think of your business, especially if you create online products, in the same way, where it's like, but what's the next step? And we kind of learned this. I love how you called it the crazy puzzle piece-ness of business, which happens, right, to all of us. Is it took us, I would say probably once we started really studying it took us about 18 months to figure out where customers like to go next. Where are these beautiful humans who are expanding? Where do they like to go next? And we were really surprised. But I think that, you know what I mean? I thought like, oh, well, they'll jump from this to one-on-one coaching, or they'll jump from one-on-one coaching to this group program. I was totally wrong.
Oh,
And I think one of the reasons I was wrong is we didn't do it with that in mind. We didn't do it from what do they need first, right? If they get a muffin, they're going to need coffee, right? So it's like, okay, so if they learn how to, for example, for today, for our conversation, they learn how to write emails. Well, what do they need to know how to do next? Well, where are the emails sending people? They need to know about a highly converting sales page. Okay, now they know about the sales page. What do they need to know about the thank you page? Now they know about the thank you page. What does that person need next? Right? So those were a whole bunch of baby steps in between the actual product suite, right? So the suite might be a small container. It could be an introductory workshop to you. It could be your lead magnet. It could be a 3-part series you do. It could be a podcast mini series, like whatever you want to start with. I say start with whatever your medium is that you are the most comfortable in, right? And if it's making the muffins, make the dang good muffins, right? We'll worry about the coffee on step 2. So we do what's your magic sauce, right? And like for me, that tends to be video. I love being on video. People feel like they really connect. We love it. It's so fun, right? So you do what you connect with best. Then you say, okay, but what do they need to know next? And it's probably a mindset issue. And this is where we go wrong. We keep thinking, giving them stuff, give them stuff, give them stuff, give them stuff. But if the mindset isn't matching as they're going through, it can get tough. And now they bought 3 things from you, but their mindset isn't matching. So they're not growing where they could be. And so what I like to tell people is do a step forward, followed by a mindset piece. Now you can do that in one product if you want, but then you got to know what the next step is and what's the mindset shift that has to go with that. And then that can lead, like our product suite goes from, $7 to $12,000. And that's where, we can really expand with somebody. And that could be a 3 to 4 year journey with us. But you have to know each step in between and what's happening for them and what they need in order to continue to progress. And by the time they're at the end of that list with you, with your amazing products, everything you've created, they look back at that first one and go, oh my God, thank God you priced it the way you did. Thank goodness you gave me the information I needed at that phase. And along the way, you kept going because that's what started it. And they can look back and actually see that. And the concept for us is always like, if you loved this, you're going to love that. And actually thinking about your entire customer journey, given your talent set, your skills, your ability to teach, your love of whatever it is you're helping people with to really get them to that highest level. You can't start there because most people aren't there. What do they need to know? And that can be really challenging for us. It's like I like to say it's kind of like learning how to tie a shoe. Like it takes forever, right? And now all of us tie our shoes 45 times a week. We don't even notice.
Don't even think about it now.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. But to a 4-year-old, they're like, oh my God, you're magical. Right. And so you
How
got to
much
put
money
yourself
is-
back. Yeah. Yeah. You got to be like, when I was 4, what did I need? And it can be challenging, right? Because you're like, oh, I just do this all the time. But for someone who doesn't do it all the time, they need to go back to being 4 and do the little bunny ears and all the things.
Yeah, they don't know what they don't know. So they don't know
Right.
their next step and what they need. Yeah. And we
Yeah.
do see that with clients. We see the patterns start to pop up. You can get to 2 or 3 years coaching people and start to say, well, they all have the same 5 issues in a
Yes.
row. It just keeps happening and happening. What I like about that too is that it's like when you're doing like actionable and mindset stuff, you're decreasing their overwhelm. Because one thing that I hear about in entrepreneurial circles is people going, oh, well, I've bought, like 6 products, but I haven't finished any of them because I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know which one to do first. And I think your approach really lessens that factor or actually gets rid of that sort of frozen, overwhelmed moment. I don't know what to work on. And also as a business owner, when people come to us and they're like, what do I do about pricing? And everybody wants to price high tickets straight away, but it's such a hard sell because you don't have that know, like, and trust yet. And then nobody
Mhm.
wants to price tiny, but they feel like I should because that's an easy conversion. Nobody's going to mind parting with a really low ticket. And I feel like, no, when you've got a strategy in mind about your pricing and you take people on a journey, like you were just saying then, it makes so much more sense to do it
Yeah.
that way than it does to just randomly price things how you feel they should be or how you see somebody else doing it.
Yeah, and that is the biggest problem I think with our online world is we see someone else do it.
Yeah.
And so we're like, "Oh, well, I have to have one of those too." And it's like, "Well, says who?"
Oh, yeah. And you see,
I
and
mean,
people are so out and proud about their successes. And I'm excited about other business owners' successes. But if you make every business decision on your own based on the fact that this worked for somebody else, if it's not in your zone of genius or you're not ready for it yet, you don't have to do it. It's not the only way to succeed. There's so much more success out there from people who aren't talking about it out loud. Like there are so many different ways to win and to help your clients win that I think it would be so nice for everybody to kind of release that pressure of I have to do it a certain way. And
yes.
yeah, that could be a
Yeah,
whole
oh, I
other
think you're so right. I mean, and I love saying that. I say it all the time. There is no one way to grow your business. Like that idea that like follow my 3-step plan. It's like, well, maybe, maybe, but what happens to me as a human while I'm doing that? What are
yeah.
the stumbling blocks going to be? How are you going to help me through those? And I think we all really, no matter what you're coaching on or sharing or helping or muffins and coffee, right? It is to put yourself in the customer's shoes, not yours, starting with your thank you page, right? Like, congratulations. Put yourself in their world 110%, and you'll know what you need to create next because so many of us created our businesses based on what we didn't have. So we
Yes.
know. Right?
Yeah.
We know what was missing for us. We're like, "Good God, I wish I'd had me." Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, the heartache, right? And so I think it's that idea of really building it for them, and the
Yeah.
money will always follow, and I don't mean to sound like, the crazy American movie, Field of Dreams, but it does work better when you build it with a solution in mind, when you absolutely understand what problem you're solving and you educate people on how you solve that problem.
Yeah, and I think that takes the pressure off us in terms of sales then too, so we don't have to be stumbly about it. We can just be excited to help people, and they can be excited to work with us. Okay, well,
Yes,
that makes me
100%.
feel like, all right, it makes sense. It makes sense. We've got a nice little, quick win with the thank you page. That's I feel like everybody can just do that straight away, give it a go. And then the
Mm,
product suite, I think, it's a really good. We're coming into the second half of the year now, so actually taking time to assess your product suite and have a look at the trends you're seeing with your clients and what's the
mm.
next step for them that they might not be aware of. That's a fantastic thing to focus on in terms of growing your business and your offers over the next few months. So that's great. There is one thing that I wanted to ask you about that I have no idea what it means right now. And it's something I've heard you say before. So I thought maybe
Hit
you could
me.
share it with our listeners. What is the fresh slice of lemon pie approach? How does that fit with anything that we do?
You're like, "What?" Now we got muffins, coffee, she's
Muffins
talking
and
about
pie.
pie.
It's
What
my
is
favorite
happening?
episode.
We should call it, yeah, like, let's do the fresh slice of lemon pie episode. Oh my god, this is so much fun. So I actually learned this. So as business owners, right, I think it's so important for us to continue to buff up our skills. Nobody knows how to do this out of the gate, right? And so I actually loved studying PR, right? Like it's like, those people who finally get into Oprah's magazine and they're done. They're like, okay, we're good. That was the best year we ever had. We're gonna be all right, everybody go on vacation, right? Is like, how do you cause that to happen? Like what do you do? And the person teaching me PR would constantly say, you have to come at it from a fresh angle. And I
Mm.
was like, okay, so how do you do that? Right? How do you do that? And I actually created something in my business about fresh angles. And then I was like, wait a minute, this isn't just for PR. This is for product. This is for marketing. This is for sharing about what we do. And it actually counters the copycat problem that we see so often. Like somebody launches something or does something, and all of a sudden everybody's using the same language or the same
Copy.
colors or the same types of photos or pick a thing, right? And we've all fallen into this. I've done it. Every client I've ever had has done it. Yeah, right. Marissa's like, yeah, me too. Me
We
too.
all have.
We all have. So what I like to do is it's literally just a spreadsheet, Just open up a spreadsheet and say, what are 6 different ways I can say this and make it sound as fresh as a slice of lemon pie? And there's something about that. It feels fresh. Lemon is always bright and colorful, right? So that's why I chose lemon pie. But it's like this idea of like, what are 5 different ways I could say this? How
Mm.
can I come at this with this fresh approach? And literally creating a spreadsheet where it's like, let's say, for us, it's like, let's increase sales. Let's make your business simple, right? That's absolutely one way to say that. What are 5 other ways we could say it? Right.
Yeah.
And then you start and you stay inside your lane. You don't do this by looking on social media. You don't go study other people's stuff. Your brain is amazing. You're beautiful. You've been doing this for a while. You know what you're doing. Start playing with the words. How do you make it fresh? How do you make it you? And there was this ancient, oh goodness, I can't remember who it was, but there's like this ancient saying, if it's from you, it's new. And I
Oh,
think the fresh slice of lemon pie idea helps us come back to us. And it gets rid of this idea that you're a commodity. You are just like everyone else out there who's doing what you're doing. And that awful feeling we can all have when we're on social, we're like, oh my God, she's doing what I'm doing, but she's doing it better. You know, that feeling that we all have, right? And it
yeah.
really helps freshen up your mind as well. And you talk about your products like they're a fresh slice of lemon pie. And
Yeah.
when you have that in the back of your head, it's so literally delicious and exciting and fresh and
Okay.
new, and it can really spark that creative side of you that most people who start a business really have that creative edge, even if they fight with me and say they don't. At the end of the day, they've created something that wasn't there until they created it. And your
Yeah.
fresh slice of lemon pie approach is the same thing. Start saying things in a way that excites you, keeping your customer in mind, right? So thank you is nice. Congratulations is about your customer and isn't congratulations fresh and fun to say. So it's
Oh,
that same idea. And any page, any new post, anything else, run it through your fresh slice of lemon pie. What are 4 or 5 different ways I could use this phrase, say this thing, share this image? And it will really start to brighten up literally how you are sharing about what you do.
yeah. When you were saying that, I was thinking, because I talk about simplifying business all the time, and so does everybody else. And I have been saying it for years and years. And then I was just thinking to myself, I still remember one time I did a post and it was about how I decided to make changes in my business because I was sick of being the only one up at midnight tapping on my laptop while the whole rest of the family was asleep. And that one resonated with everybody. And I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I should be putting more focus on sentences like that, right? Because that's what
Yeah.
really, and that was a new way to say it. It was a new but relatable way to say it that you don't hear. I don't know, you might hear it now, but I didn't hear it at the time. And yeah, I'm gonna be looking at everybody else's copy now with
Yeah.
fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
such a
Oh, and I
powerful
have to say, I think what you just shared was like a $1 million comment. Honestly, what you just said about I need to come up with the specifics, giving
Mm.
people, we sales coaches are always like, give them the results, right? Don't talk about you, give them the result. And people look at me like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, I get that. I really do. But it's going to bed with the rest of your family and setting up at midnight being the only one typing.
Yeah,
That is the result, right? And I think that is one of the best sales trainings you can give yourself is to remember human beings are going through life and there's parts of it you can help them go through better. There's parts of it they hate and they
mhm,
just want the result. And we know we've all been there.
yeah,
Right. And so the fresh slice of lemon pie approach can help you find those moments. So you don't just say the same thing. Some things are good to say, more money in the hands of more women. Some
mhm,
things to say over and over are good. And then it's like, but what other ways can I do that? And then I talk about war and how men are in charge and they're dropping bombs on other people's children. I don't think women would do that. We would be dropping food, water, and medicine.
yeah,
Same message, very different way to say it,
yeah,
right? We need money in the hands of women. And so that's the kind of content and perspective the fresh slice of lemon pie generator can create for you and really getting in touch with the humanity and the
behind it.
experience of being up at midnight that people are actually going through. It just will transform the way that people view you and the way you view your business too, because you get connected to how much you're transforming other people's lives too.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, that's a beautiful thing to focus on. And it's going to be fun too. I think once you kind of get that ball rolling, you start to get a few ideas, more and more come. And yeah, it's a fun
Mhm.
activity as well.
It
Oh,
is. Yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, let's have a little talk about email because I know there are There's a bit of a love-hate relationship with email. And I think both you and I are people who enjoy words. We like communication. And so for us, it can feel a little more flowy, a little more easy. I could just sit and type all day and be happy. Um, Actually, that wasn't me a few years ago. I used to think I was a talker, not a writer. And so I think I've had a shift and that came with practice. But I know that a lot of people are like, I know I should do email. But actually, is anyone opening their emails anymore? Everyone's getting 1,000 emails a day. They're on social media. How important is email these days anyway? So do you have any thoughts on that you want to share? How do you feel about the whole constant onslaught of information and being able to stand out and make a difference?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There's so much here, right? It used to be, speaking to the inundation of information, do you know the average human being on planet Earth right now is getting 3,100 marketing messages a day?
And
A
even I
day.
am when I wake up in the morning, and I feel terrible saying it, but I've realized my new default action is just delete, 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 because it's
Yes.
too overwhelming to even filter or unsubscribe. And so I'm missing out on stuff just because my inbox feels overwhelming and I'm in the industry.
Yes. Yes. No, I've done it too. And I've accidentally deleted important emails too, right? You're like, oh, whoops. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. It was in between
Yeah.
Nike and my kids' stupid forms. I
Happy
don't know what
fail.
I did with it, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
true.
do think it is really important for us to be cognizant of that. One of the things I love to work on with people is, especially during launch season, right? If you're launching something new or you're getting the word out about something, as being so freaking respectful of that. And I will tell you right now, you guys, if you take nothing from this, please steal this idea, is that when you are launching something, so we just did an Abundance Academy launch here in our business, right? And at the top of every single email in small text, like really small font, I say something like, oh my gosh, we're opening up the doors of the Abundance Academy. This is so exciting. If you're not into it and you don't want to hear about these emails, click here. You won't hear about the Abundance Academy again. So they
Oh.
stay on the list, but they're pulled out of the launch sequence. And of course, we send them to a massive page where we go, you are awesome. You got it. Mum's the word. Don't worry about it. And while you're here, you might want to check out this podcast and this bit, right? And they're like,
I love
thank you.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're keeping them engaged in your world because they signed up for a reason. They wanted to be there with you. But
Mm,
please be courteous, especially during launch seasons. Let people back out because it may not be the right season for them. It
mhm.
might not be the time for them, but they don't want to leave your world completely. Give them an option, for crying out Christmas. Like, let them have the middle road, which is not this launch, but please keep me on your emails. I want to know about other things.
Yeah.
So that little courtesy, I think, is really, really important. And then to back all of that up, I'm going to sound like every coach you've ever heard, which is your email list is the only asset you own.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say that. I have one of my clients is an influencer. She makes about $3 million a year. And
Mm.
I was like, where's your newsletter list? She's like, I don't have one. I almost vomited. I was like, oh no, 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 no. I was like, no, no, no. YouTube and Instagram can turn you off tomorrow. They own all of it. You own nothing. Like, oh no. Right. And that is real. So if for no other reason do you make sure you are growing that bit, it's an asset, right? That is a business asset. You need to make sure you're growing it and that you are nurturing it properly. And I think that is also a big mistake, right? One of the reasons we delete is because we're like, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
You can sort of
I
have
don't
that
remember
feeling.
why I signed up. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what is this, right? And that to me is how we can break through that noise is really when you create a lead magnet, right? When you really invite someone in your world, first of all, the congratulations page, they start to get to know you, they see your name. And
Yeah.
then the way that you design that nurture sequence on the other end is so important in how they're getting to know who you are. And if you have any other assets, again, videos, podcasts, I'd highly recommend that. And if you don't, that's fine. You can also do Bonjoro is one of my favorite things,
Oh,
where it is
wow.
a service where you can record an in-person video, right? So I would say, oh my God, Marissa, thank you so much for signing up yesterday. That was so cool. I'm so happy you're on my list. Here's what you can expect. Da, da, da. And if you do that, and let's say you get 15 new people, right, on your list every day, great. Once it starts to get to 100, make sure your nurture sequence is great. But when you're starting out and you're like, how do I even do this? Send them Bonjoro videos, welcome them into your world. No one's doing that. It's like the flower thing, right? Like, oh my God, every time I've done that, people get so excited. They're like, no one has ever done this. And then when they see the name come across their inbox, they're actually going to read it. And then I think the other thing that's missing for most people is the subject line. I
Yes.
think it like breaks my heart in a million pieces because people put all this time and energy into email copy,
Yep.
and then they throw a subject line up, and it's like, oh my god, that's what's going to decide whether or not they open it. Like, no. So I love teaching people how to create subject lines that actually have people like open the emails. Yeah.
Oh, I think you're so right. That's such an important teeny tiny piece of real estate, especially when you're somebody who, and I think all of us have that experience we just talked about where you open up your email for the first day, whether it be on your phone or your computer, and it's just a sea of words and you just, everything is
Mhm.
bold, everything is unread, it all looks the same as each other. And you're right, that's one line that you have, and it's usually half a line. So you can't go on forever. And it has to be relevant to why they loved you in the first place, right? Or relevant to the pathway that they're on that started with why they loved you in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a big missing for people. And please, anyone listening, good on you for using Chat GPT. Knock your socks off. Please remove the rocket emojis from your subject lines. Okay.
Yes.
Please.
Oh
We
my
all
gosh.
know that that's coming from a machine and not from you. So please don't do that, and never use the word embark.
And please
That's
don't
a
use
dead giveaway.
foster. Don't use foster either. Foster a community
What
of
is
this.
that?
And
Yes,
in the fast-paced world of whatever industry you're in,
that
we
is
can all
so
spot those flags. And and we're not judging because we can spot them because we're interested
we
in
know.
ChatGPT too.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah.
The
It's isn't
extra
it
30
funny?
seconds to choose your own emoji if you choose one, right? Or to
Yeah.
rewrite it so it sounds like you is
Yeah.
worth it. That is the best time you can spend. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on using this is something I've been too shy to do, but what are your thoughts on using people's personalization in the subject line and being like, Marissa, this is for you? Have you tried that? Do you have thoughts either way on that one?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of using people's first names. I don't do it in subject lines very often
Mhm.
unless it's really like I really teach people to like feel the email, right? Like you guys have already heard me. I'm like, you gotta like acknowledge where people are, what's going on. And the the bad news about doing that is it got overused somehow. I don't know who picked it up or who taught it or something. People start looking at each other, right? Instead of
Yeah.
fresh slice of lemon pie. That's
Yeah.
what happened, right? And so everybody's doing it. And I think it's very important not to overuse it
Yeah.
because it's so clear, right? I mean, I can't even tell you the number of emails, Marissa, we get from marketers or funnel masters or whomever. They're like, Sarah, this is for you. And I'm like, it's not though, because you just sent it to 90 million people. So
And we
you
know.
want to really, yeah. And I love using people's first names because, as you can tell, I really love people, right? And I anybody who's in my world, I want them to really have that feeling that I know who they are, I know what they're struggling with, I am here for them. And so I love using names throughout an email, as I would if I were writing to a friend,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like, Marissa, you will not believe what happened last night. Like I would actually type that to you, right? If I had sent you an email instead of a text, I would say something like that. And I think using someone's name throughout an email, the way
Mhm.
that you would if you were writing to a friend, is really important, and it really personalizes the email. It's one of the biggest comments we get is like, I really feel like you sat down and wrote this just for me. And I'm like,
Like a
that's the intention.
letter.
Yeah.
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 I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and so I think the only time to really do it, I think in the subject line is when it's genuine, and for me, that would be something like, let's say we're creating a live event or a live workshop or something, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I really thought these people were gonna sign up by now, and they haven't," is I'd be like, "Marissa, I haven't seen your name on the list yet." Like that, I would say, because I would say that to you. I'd be like, "Dude, what's going on?"
It's
So it's
actually
really using that personal effect for real, not
yeah.
as a ploy, if
That's
that
what
makes
makes
sense.
it not spammy, right? It's
Yeah.
the ones that are easy to spot that aren't genuine feelings from the person, and that's a big turn off straight away, and that's what I love about your communications is I always feel like whenever I open up anything from you or see anything from you online, I feel like it's a friend talking to a friend that's, that I don't know what it is, but it's this real connection. It's a real closeness. And yes, I'm aware that, everybody's social media posts go out to everybody, but the really good copywriters or the people who are really passionate about what they do, there's just something in the way that they talk to other people that really
Mhm.
makes you feel like I feel like you're just talking to just me right now. And that's such a powerful thing. I love it.
It's critical. Yeah, and thank you so much for saying that. That's so nice. You just made my, like, month.
Oh.
Thank you, because that's how we want it, right? I don't want anyone to feel like they're one in a couple 100,000. That's awful. I don't wanna be
Yeah.
that person either, right?
You don't want
Yuck.
to feel like a number. It's the same thing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And I think too, that's why people have this love-hate relationship with email is they can spot the things that don't feel good when they're reading emails as a consumer. And even if they're not always consciously aware of the details of that, they get a vibe when something's, not done in a genuine or authentic way. And I think that's why it's so important. So, I mean, I believe that email is probably one of the most important tools still in my business. So I'm talking 12 years down the track, a couple of different businesses, and email still is the driver for me of most of my sales. But I think getting to a place where I knew how and what I wanted to put in my emails, or what I wanted to write and how I wanted to deliver it, was a really important thing. And not to, I want to respect people's time. I want my emails to be helpful and a great connection. And I don't
Mhm.
want to weigh people down with them. And I know you have a resource actually that helps people write emails that sell in
Yeah.
a really nice feeling way. So do you want to talk to people about that? Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to. Well, it's funny, Marissa, because this came out of exactly what you just said is people would write in and be like, "Can you teach me how to write like this?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I mean, I was an English major in college. I'll do my best, right?" But I really started to take that to heart. It's like I always say when three people tell you you're drunk, lie down.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, that's great. If more and more people are asking you for something, give it to them, right? So, so I was like, we need to create a workshop where we actually, I want to go live and show people how I write email. Like that's literally how it started. Was like, I'm going to open up my browser and send it, and they're going to see it go out to the entire list later that day. And they were like, my team was like, "Are you crazy?" I was like, "Well, if we're
Mm,
going to show them, let's show them, right?" So we had so much fun, but I also started noticing when people get nervous in business, right? Going back to creating stuff like we have talked about this entire time, it was like, but what do I do if I need a cash injection?
mhm.
How do I really welcome people in? What's a good follow-up email? And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to do this." So I created a how to write emails that sell workshop. I do write an email live inside the workshop. It's true. It really happens. And we really walk people through the biggest mistakes people make in email, why you
Mhm.
feel yucky when you get one. Like, what is that? What causes that yucky feeling? Like, why does that happen? And you never want to do that to people. So let's learn what those mistakes are. So we cover that. And then we talk about some of my writing tricks. We
Mm.
really go into depth on subject lines and how you create subject lines that actually connect with people and have them go, "Oh, either I need to save this email, right? I don't accidentally delete it, or I want to come back to this later. I'm opening it right this second."
Yeah.
And so inside the workshop, it was a live workshop that I did. And people loved it so much, we decided to just sell it. We have recorded it. It's there for people, and you can actually just go grab it. And it also comes with 5 email templates that I personally use all the time that you can just take and run and write your own stuff inside of.
Wow. I'm totally
Yeah.
gonna get it because you say sell it, but it's like it's only like $7 or something, isn't it? It's like
Yep.
nothing. It doesn't even feel like no offense, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in
Yeah.
a good way
No.
because I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like getting
Yeah.
those templates and actually seeing somebody do it, that's
Yes.
gonna like, I'm gonna hang up this recording and go go and get it for myself and just watch today because it doesn't matter how long you're in the game for. It's always so nice to see how somebody does something, especially somebody that you do resonate with. Like, I would love
Mm-mm.
to have that little peek behind the scenes with you and go, all right, well, what's Sarah's process? How does it actually work? And what are those little things in there that I might not have thought of yet, or I might have seen and not even realized it actually made
Yes.
sense? So, yeah, I'm totally going to do that today and have a look at myself. And I'm
You are
gonna
the
leave a link
best.
for everybody else. I'm gonna put a link in the show notes. It's nice and easy. How long does workshop go for? Is it like an
I
hour
wanna say, you know
or
what? I should know that off the top of my head. You guys have learned this about me now. Like, so I think it's just a little bit over an hour, but here's another secret sauce I have about, courses or workshops or anything you get that's recorded, and I know people have picked up on it by now, but you can, like, increase the speed and watch it a lot faster, right? Don't if
yeah.
you go to 2 times, that might sound like a chipmunk, but I'm one of those people who's like, give me the info as fast as I can get it. And that's what I love. And I always encourage people. Anybody who's ever bought one of my courses is like, no one's ever told me to fast forward their own course before. And I'm like, listen, I want you getting in action. So if you got a 1.5 me to get it done faster, go.
Yeah, go
It's
1.5
just a
if you
little
need
bit of an hour.
to.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So you get it done even faster. And I think I love that concept, because workshop, I get to see it. Templates, I can action it easily, because often that's a block for me. It's like, okay, great. I love learning. I can go down a rabbit hole of learning. I have no problem with that. And then I'm like, oh, well, I'm done now. I don't actually do it. So I'm done. Yeah, I've learned it all. I haven't actually taken a step, but I've covered that now. It's fine. So to actually have a template, I'm a big template fan. In fact, my podcast episode that's going live today is all about templates. Like for me, it's like, how do you do like email templates so that you're not spending all day on your email inbox? Like, how do you get in touch with somebody about this? How do you handle a default payment? How do you, get somebody to leave you a good review? I love templates for that, because it takes the emotion out of the interaction, because we're always nervous to send those sorts of emails. So my podcast was all about templates today, because I'm obsessed. But as a user, like, honestly, I just find them so much faster, so much easier, so much more motivating to have a place to start. Like, you don't want to do it exactly the same, but to have that not having a blank page feeling, gold.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I totally agree with you. And now you're like looking at I'm going to go listen to your podcast episode, because I got to tell you, I think it's so important. And I think the other thing about having templates is it sparks other ideas, right? You're like, oh, the default payment didn't go through. Oh, what do I do if I have to unsubscribe them? What do I do and you start thinking through how to be the best business owner. Oh, you're so good.
We're such a good team.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, Sarah, we could chat for hours. I feel like I learned so much in this conversation, and it's in a way that felt really light and easy and doable. And I think our listeners are going to feel the same way. So thank you for that. I'm going to link to that workshop in the show notes, but I'm also going to pop your website link and your social links in there too, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Which platform do you tend to be on most? If people want to chat?
Instagram. Yeah, Instagram. You want to DM me on Instagram, you'll get an answer on Instagram. It's really me. Yeah, you know about me and ChatGPT. It's actually me. Yeah. We're looking at perhaps putting in bots to help you find the right podcast episode. But other than that, it's me. And I think the other place you can really get to me too is YouTube. Like, I really enjoy YouTube. I like the communities on there. And you can come in and say hi.
Oh, I love that. And I think that's a good thing about YouTube is you can go and have a look at all of the videos and pick the one you need in that moment, pick the one you need that day. And yeah, it's really nice. You don't have to scroll forever. You can just know exactly what you're going to get.
So true. It's so true.
That all the platforms, they have like a feature that makes them distinctive and makes you love them. And I go through phases. Sometimes I'm in a TikTok phase, sometimes a YouTube phase, sometimes Instagram. They all give you something different that you need at different points. But as far as Twitter or X goes, I have to admit I haven't been on there in about 3 years.
Nope, not going back either.
Not the energy I'm looking for. No.
Thank you. Oh, and I used to host Twitter parties, by the way. That was so much fun. Oh my gosh, those were a riot. I have not touched that thing in years. I'm with you, Marissa, on that one. Yeah,
no, that could catch on fire tomorrow, and I would be totally fine because I have an email list, so it doesn't matter. So.
Ding, 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 ding. You heard her. You heard what she said, guys.
Build your email list. Do Sarah's workshop. Build your email list and sell that way because it's really nice, and it actually frees you up. I think when you nurture people and sell via email too, it's like you get your time freedom back as well because you can help people all over the globe, no matter what time they read that email. It's magic. I love it.
Agreed. It's such an asset. Yeah. Oh, Marissa, you're the best.
Well, thank you so much for being here again. I've loved it. And now I'm going to be like, right, in the next 4 months, I need you back again. And let's talk about step 3.
Let's do it.
Make it a series. It's going to be fun. All right, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed listening to Sarah and I. I've kept Sarah way too long. Sorry, I just realized we went way over time because I got too obsessed with the convo, but it was totally worth it.
Me too. It's all good.
I hope you enjoyed the chat. I'm going to link Sarah's original episode on a highly converting sales page because if you haven't done that one yet, it's a really good first step. So I want you to have a bit of a binge listen this week, listen to both episodes, take 1 or 2 actionable items from them, give them a go, and please come and let us know on Instagram. You can DM Sarah or you can send me a DM too. I'll make sure links are in the show notes because we want to know what you decided to do and how it worked out for you and how you're feeling about your business as a result. And I will see you all in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Simpler Business Podcast. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to make it nice and easy for you, just the way we like it. If you're ready to simplify and scale your business, you can get started with my free audio class at marissaroberts.com. See you next time.